But we got a little segment here. This is going to be our second one here called just calling it hard questions for now. Going to talk to Frenchie about something here. Um, Now we had talked earlier this week, and I kind of brought up something. And I'd asked you about whether or not you thought it was a mistake to remove a faction, because I've always wanted there to be more factions. Because well, one, I just think it would be cool to have more factions, but two, you get more players. Then it was announced that they were dropping the Droogs, so we were losing a faction, therefore losing 10 players, but we were adding people to the draft, and that didn't sit well with me. Then it was after that conversation that it was put out that the managers' factions had all agreed that they will add 2 members to their rosters, so that canceled out my argument for that. That's no longer an issue for me. But that was my question to you. Was, dude, did they make a mistake removing a faction? And I mean, they did. To be fair, they did add a lot of new people still, so there's a lot of people who aren't going to have a chance.
It's an uncertain question, right? It's less about a perspective of, is it a bad thing? Did he make a mistake? It's more what is more beneficial for the Schmoedown, for the viewers itself, right? On the flip side, we got less teams, so more chances to stabilize a bit the number of matches, because we heard a lot of people complain this season that certain factions were more favored, they had more matches. The tournaments will do that to you, but it does make it easier to level the playing field with 8 teams instead of having 10 factions, I should say. It really, especially with the number of matches now that's going to be in this season, you can have a lot better chance for certain factions to go up, right? And not just always playing from behind, because they're winning not as much, so they have less matches, and there's so many factions out there that it makes it almost impossible for them to get back up because it's not very well distributed. And it makes it easier for the viewer to just follow. You and me know both, right? There's a lot of content to cover. There's a lot of stuff. With 10 factions, at one point, it's like, okay, what's going on? Like, the 10 factions have their own Facebook pages, they have their own Twitters, and after a while, it becomes a lot. You put it to 8, it's still 8, it's still a lot, but a lot less to follow up. It makes it easier for us and for the viewers just to know what the hell is going on.
Yeah, and now I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of sports and competition, and I'm more a fan of the competition itself than I am of any in particular team or player. Like baseball, for example, is my favorite sport. I'm a Cincinnati Reds fan, but like above that, if the Reds lose, but it was a really good fucking game, I'm really happy. Like, yeah. I just love the competition side of things. And I've never really understood or been into like the boxing and the wrestling and the MMA style of rankings and numbers and stuff like that. And Christian has said it before, the more you win, the more you play. Therefore, if you lose, you won't play as much, and then that makes it uneven as to how many matches each faction get. Because being from baseball and watching football growing up, every team plays the same amount of games. Therefore, we know it's fair, and I've never really understood it. It's always seemed a little unfair to me. And you make a lot of sense, and you've changed. I'm not, I don't have a stance anymore on this one, but that's where I'm at.
Especially that with the 8 team, it gives the opportunity to everyone to play more than just one match, right? If they lose, they're not penalized because they're not going to be just taken out. If they lose, they have a chance to redeem themselves at least one time, and that's because of there's only 8 teams, right? That's almost impossible doing it 10 teams, because redemption for almost everyone on 10 teams is a lot harder than putting it at 8. But you definitely are a lot less penalized if you don't have your first. Let's say it's a rookie, they got the nerves, got the better of them. They can still try out a second time and not hope they'll have another match, compared to have it on a 9 or 10 team format.
Now let me ask you, and we'll wrap it up here with this question for you. Is there any way to is there any way to make it so that each faction has the same amount of matches and stuff like that? Like I've said, I've only grown up being familiar with that way of doing sports and competition. I'm not. I don't know if it's possible to do it that way, because that's just one thing that I've always not been clear on, is just, yes, this faction is winning more, so they're playing more matches, but that's the point. Like that, then this faction over here, they're not playing any matches because they're losing, which I understand, but I don't know. It's just one of those. It's a hard question.
And for me, putting it at 8 kind of like not maybe solves the problem, but makes it easier for Christian to tweak it to make it a bit more level playing field compared to having 9 or 10. It's a lot harder to tweak it because, like it or not, 9 and 10, it's like 20 more players, right? Compared to putting it at 8, you have a lot more breathing room to do so. Than having that extra, 10 or 20 players.
Yeah. And that's what I like about this little segment, man. They're hard questions. And especially like me, there's some stuff I don't understand. And you can tell that I still don't understand some of it, but that's okay. Cause that's what we do on this segment, is ask those questions and just have a simple conversation about it.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me on.
Really quick, before you get out of here and go back to your cave behind scenes, why don't you go ahead and tell everybody here in about 15 minutes where they can find you at?
Well, we're actually the Schmoes of the North. By the way, if you're not subscribed, what you do and subscribe, press that notification. We bring out a lot of content, not just Schmodown. We also have the Frenchie Talks About and the Frenchie Watches. So go ahead and check that out. That being said, in around 15 minutes, we'll be on Mount Schmodown, going over Ken Knapsack's career. I cannot wait to talk with the boys at Mount Schmodown. I love their content, and we're just blessed to be on their show for this week. So that being said, bonsoir. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much, sir. You want to hear something funny? The mic wasn't on that whole time.
No way.
Yeah, for real.
Oh, wow.
So smooth.